I did one with Craig Euler. I think we did like 10 or 11 scenes, and he was fucking bouncing like a maniac, which is, do you know Craig Euler?
The name is familiar. I don't know him personally though.
Oh, he's fucking great. He's in Chicago now, but he's just definitely like he's like ADD improviser, so it's always these quick moves back and forth, and it's fun to it's just fun to play with him.
I
But
love the unexpected nature of it. Like,
oh,
you're not plotting at all.
no, no, he's
You're
just
plotting all the time. You are not. And this is
no. All right, so I'm gonna bring us on Facebook. You sound a little low. Is your
oh,
mic
here.
low?
Let me
Or
is this better?
yeah,
Yeah, I had it low for
for your thing.
commercial audition here. Usually I'm using that guy, but I don't want to stand up.
No, dude.
Why stand when you can sit?
My whole point in improvising now is like, man, can I just sit? I just want to sit. That's all. I
If
want
they
to do a lot of scenes in restaurants and cabs.
if they didn't want us to sit, they wouldn't give us the option of chairs. And I know they say a body in chairs stays in chairs. I'm like, well, if you
Yes,
didn't want the chairs, then you don't give us them at all. Because
and yes, and I want to stay in chairs.
yeah, I'd love to stay in the chair. The chair can be a horse. The chair can be a motorcycle. The chair can be anything, really. There's a pony
Whatever.
bowl. That could be a chair.
uh, pick a number between 1 and 30.
1 and 30. 17.
Oh, 17 actually is a pretty uh, commonly chosen number for some reason.
Really?
17, yeah, I don't know why. It's maybe it's the Mark Grace thing. Uh,
Yeah, that's why I went there.
12, 14. Okay, well, this is pretty great. This comes from Jay Cross, and our suggestion is insufficient profit, like
Oh,
Prophet.
got it. Got it.
Thanks, Jay.
Yeah.
My lord,
Yes.
you you have been paused thinking of we are hanging on every word you're saying, and it's been a long pause.
Sanderson, as they say, thought is best considered carefully for long periods of time. For if you are to rush a thought in a short period of time, it is less a thought and more a not thought.
Oh, wise, wise, my lord, wise, very wise words.
Mm-hmm. And what was it that you wanted to know? Will the rains come back? Is that what you?
Yeah, yeah, we have been, as you know, suffering from an extreme drought, and we want
Mhm.
to know if there's any signs, if you could help us at all, Lord, of what will happen. Will the rains come back?
Well, I'm reminded of a story, a parable of sorts, of the empty bathtub. Are
Mm.
you familiar with the empty bathtub?
Tell us, my lord, tell us.
Once upon a time, there was a claw footed bathtub,
Ah,
and it was empty, for there was no bucket to fill it with water and no river close by to fill the bucket that also wasn't there.
oh yes.
So this lonely claw footed tub stayed in the center of the court, and it was feeling very low. It
Okay.
would say to itself, "Woe is me, I am but an empty bathtub." Now, understand, this is a metaphorical situation. Bathtubs often don't speak. If they
Right.
do speak, perhaps someone is in there already and you shouldn't crawl in with them. I learned that the hard way.
Good point. Good
So
point.
the bathtub says to itself, it says, "Oh, how I wish I was full. I could truly use a drink of water. It could be hot, it could be cold. because if I had the water in me, then someone would put their naked body into my mouth, and thus I would be satisfied.
Oh, yeah, okay, yes, yes, that's very good.
Is this a sentiment that you can relate to, wanting naked bodies in your mouths?
Yeah, Lord, we believe it is a metaphor for welcoming your neighbor to become a part of you, and that nothing should be seen as that which cannot be attained.
Yes, I attained my neighbor's wife and my neighbor 2 or 3 times a week for 6 months. It was quite remarkable. I welcomed them into my mouth. They welcomed me into their mouths. Water was everywhere, metaphorically speaking, of course, in our claw-footed tubs. We all had our own claw-footed tubs and put them next to each other on a mountain view, staring out at the ocean where endless water was coming in, and we would hold hands, all in a line, and occasionally Frederick would come into my bathtub, and Millicent would come into my bathtub, and then I would go into their bathtubs, and we would keep shifting who was in whichever bathtub. At the end, you have different flavors in the water, and it makes an excellent consommé. A little gritty if you've been farming, but full of nutrition and pheromonal hormones. It's an aphrodisiac, you know.
So what you're saying, Lord, is that if we are to go down to the mouth of the river, in this case, that's the metaphor for the mouth of us, but the mouth of the river, and we are to open ourselves up for what can be, and we will welcome and not stop or judge that which is, but open up to that which can be, then that will allow the rains to come down and our drought will be over. But we are not allowing that which to happen. And so that is why the drought continues.
That is so well put. I often forget how genius I am. Do you feel I'm a genius? All of
Oh,
you?
oh Lord, I think we speak for all of us when we say that you are, without a doubt, the Lord Himself come down to this planet, and you are a genius because you are infallible, and what you speak has always come true. And we appreciate that the road to get us to that truth has been crooked at times, and a lot of times we will leave here not quite understanding what you're saying as you are talking about many things. And what we've come to understand is you do speak the truth. It sometimes is hard for us and our brains to understand who you are and the brilliance that you are. Yes.
Yes, that is correct. Now, once more for the people in the back. My wife, Betty, did you hear that? I am a genius. I am the Lord come to earth. What I says is right. You hear that? Your mother was wrong. She's moving out.
Now, Lord, we assume that that is, in fact, some sort of metaphor about your disapproval from your wife's mother, because you are infallible, and how she could not see that. To us, the congregation here, the multitude, it is representative of our own self-doubt, and the anger that you feel is representative of the anger we have towards ourselves as well.
That's true. All of you are wrong. Every single one of you are wrong, except when you say that I'm right. Particularly my mother-in-law. You're moving out, Agnes. I'm kicking you out.
Now, of course, Lord, what we mean by that is we are casting out that amongst ourselves, which does not further the truth and the peace. And we should cast out, take it, get away from us, our self-doubt. We are kicking you out of ourselves, self-doubt.
Yes, and I will further offer that sometimes your self-doubt manifests into a physical form of a mother-in-law, perhaps. A mother-in-law who likes to go through your undergarments. A mother-in-law who likes to make nasty comments while you're eating. A mother-in-law who says, Perhaps you should have married the king from East Westphalia. What kind of name is a kingdom like East Westphalia? Those are cross purposes. Can you be East while you're simultaneously West? No, that's an impossibility. And that's what I've been saying to her. But what does she say to me? No, East Westphalia, far superior to your kingdom. I should have married Gareth. Fallibility. What we're talking about when we're talking about fallibility. We're talking about anyone who disagrees with me. And I've been disagreed with for 47 years. And I swear I will not be disagreed with anymore. I promise you. You go down to the mouth of that river. You strip yourselves bare of all your clothes, bringing with you hundreds upon hundreds of claw-footed tubs. And you just wait there. Wait as the tide rolls into the delta, as the water pools up the river, as it fills each aquifer, as the wells rise. The water will be there for you to fill your tubs, for you to fill your sails, for you to sup on, for you to, you know, for you to, for the things.
Yes.
You know what I mean? For the things, it's a metaphor.
Yes, Lord. Yes. And we also know in this case, you do speak in metaphors, but we know whenever you tell us to go to the river, we all know that you literally mean to go, to take our clothes, to bring them to you. There is no metaphor in that whatsoever. It is a directive to us, and we shall do that, Lord. We shall do that.
If I see any one of you
Yes.
walking out of this hole towards the river in anything but your birthday suits, you will be kicked out of the kingdom with my mother-in-law. You'll be gone.
Well,
No more predictions. Nothing. You need to be naked as a jaybird, carrying a claw-footed tub on your backs as you go down to the river, and I want you to sing our anthem as you go down.
Lord, let me be the first to disrobe and leave this for you here. Thank you, Lord.
Thank you. Your nakedness amuses me.
Scene.
How did we get there?
Why didn't we get there sooner?
Yeah. Well, you don't want to give your audience too much
Right.
of the Suko show. You got to leave something to the imagination. They'll be so aroused they would have left a minute in rather than surviving the 10 minutes. It's all about control.
Here's what I mean, dude. First off, I love you so much. I think you're extremely not just talented, but fun to play with. And I also know you have no problem going and being like, let's fucking do it. Like, if we're going to do it, let's do it. What do you think holds people back from that, especially in improv? Because it's like, oh my God, it could just go for it. But a lot of people don't want to do that. Why do you think that is?
I think it lines up the same way when people say they've got a guilty pleasure. I firmly believe there's nothing called a guilty pleasure. It's something that you enjoy, you truly enjoy. Yes. And the only reason you feel guilty about it is because you're letting somebody else determine whether or not you should like it. The example I give everyone is that Jennifer Page's song Crush from the 90s is the perfect pop song. It is a perfect pop song, and there's really nothing disputable about that. But they look at me and they say, you should absolutely not like this song. Why shouldn't I like this song? Just because it's played at every CVS in America? No, it is a great piece of pop music. So when people look at that, they're so worried about the judgment that they're going to be receiving not only from the audience, because the audience often is comprised of other improvisers and other comedians.
Right.
But they're worried about the judgment they're getting from the people on the stage with them. And that comes down to a matter of trust. Do you trust the people on stage with you enough? Are you comfortable enough where you can fall on your face, but they will pick you up? Or are you worried that after the show, you're going to get a note from somebody who is a friend of yours, a contemporary of yours? Because that's something that should never happen in improv. When you're learning, and let's say when Jamie Moyer was teaching me, and she would say, okay, this move, maybe you do something different. I will listen to her because this is a classroom. This is a learning exercise. But when I'm on stage with other people, it doesn't matter what level you are at coming in. We're all at the same baseline when we start. There's no show. It doesn't exist. And all of these shows are ephemeral. and people forget that they're ephemeral. That's the beautiful thing about improv, is that it happens in the moment, and the moment the show is over, it's gone.
It's
I've
gone.
I might have heard it from you that you're allowed to be upset about a show for as long as the show was. So if
Yeah,
you did a 10-minute thing, you've
that's
got
it.
10 minutes to go, it could have been better. And then you move on and
Yeah.
you forget about it. And that's great. It's a clean slate. So you can try things knowing that you're going to fail, but you have to be comfortable knowing that failure as you perceive it is just an opportunity, because everything you need is across from you.
Yeah.
Everything you're worried
Yeah.
about,
Yeah.
somebody, the person listening across from you is going to be able to transform that and gift you and make it something you never expected.
But
I
you're right on the money with that. And the problem, not the problem, the opportunity is there. You can look at it like there's no failure. If
Mhm.
you have somebody who goes, I'm inspired by that to do this, and that's what you have, especially with Sean, but like,
Mhm.
with a lot of people, it's like you don't find those people when you're in class all the time because you're in a class situation, or you get cast in a show. It's like you don't necessarily have those people who do mean I got your back, and they go, no,
Mhm.
no, that thing you did is not a mistake. That's a gift that we're going to play for as long as we can. And for some people, and I feel like watching you and Sean is that way, where you go, we're going to play it past what's normal. We're going to keep doing it and keep digging into it. And then
Mhm.
when it gets like repetitive, we're going to do it again and again and again. And it just will become hilarious because we trust each other.
I think that's built on, you have a life outside of the classroom. You have a life outside of the theater. You have a life outside of the bar,
Yeah.
where you do have a personal investment in each other. You truly do care about each other, and you are listening and you're curious and you share interests. So then at any point, these things can be mined. You're just aware of
Yes.
behaviors and body languages. There was a show that he and I did, I think, for Ryan Hitchcock at the Wrangle at the clubhouse. Just one of these. He called and said, "Hey, can you guys come and do a thing?"
A
I
few
went,
minutes.
"Okay."
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, we show up. Both of us had day jobs at that point. We're exhausted. We're like, yeah, we're just gonna go play. And I was his wife in one scene. He was the husband. He was thinking it's Tuesday. That means it's date night. He's gonna get lucky. He said that walking in. He's singing a little song about I'm taking off my socks. That means we're gonna be having some sex. He bends over to take off his socks, and I just started crying. Just started bawling, staring out in the distance. He goes, "What happened?" It's like, our son stole the car. He stole the Trans Am. I don't know if he's ever coming back. And then I opened up the fridge and reached in to grab something, and he just goes, "Honey, this is no time for pickles." At no point did I say that I was opening up a jar of pickles, but I actually, honest to God, had reached in,
Yes.
and my hand was built like, oh, it's one of those
Yeah.
short, squat bottles of Vlasic pickles. I knew what kind it was. I was going in, I was going to eat
And
this
he
pickle, and
knew,
he knew.
because he's paying attention to you and he knows you,
Mhm.
but also he's not like, what's the funniest thing I can say? He's like, no, I saw you reaching for pickles. I
Yeah,
saw it.
I saw you. What do we have in this fridge? We've got like mayonnaise that has hair on it,
Of course.
and like 18 jars of pickles. We probably made them ourselves because this is what we do on a Tuesday night. And the any scene that we have just ends up going that way. And I've had this with other people I've written with, where we'll always start off, there's an offer, whether we're writing a sketch or we're on stage, there's an initial offer, and then we go, well, what's worse than that? What's worse than that? We just keep building on it till it becomes something absolutely absurd and ridiculous that is inherently funny, because we're so grounded in this. Here's this relationship with the husband and wife, where the husband really, he really wants to get laid, but the wife is crying and eating pickles because the Trans Am is gone. And specifically, it's the Trans Am that's gone. It's not the
Which is
Previa.
another detail. The specificity makes, we rob ourselves in improv when we don't dwell in the specificity.
Yeah, the more specific you can be, the more ridiculous
Yes.
it ultimately
Trans
is.
Am.
I saw a Mama's Boy show with Jamie Moyer, Nancy Hayden, I think Amy
Mary
Pfeiffer
Beth
was there.
Monroe.
Yeah, Mary Beth was there, and I think it was with Keegan Michael Key. He was there, and Jamie said something, and it was almost one of those throwaway. Here's a big thing I'm doing, a throwaway line, and he's standing there as the guy who just came in and goes, "I want to hear more about that." And that's all he said. And she was so disarmed. She just started breaking out. Said, "You want to hear more about Audubon's books about birds?" He goes, "I want to know everything you know about John J. Audubon's
That's
birds."
the
And
best.
kept going in because you're glossing over something like, do I know anything about John Audubon's birds?
No.
Doesn't matter. I can make anything up here as long as it sounds official, and it'll
And
become
you're
funnier.
watching those people who have a shared history, who like each other,
Mhm.
mess with each other. And
Yeah.
it's like, no, 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 you can't throw that. It's like, yep, I know you got to laugh for that, but we are going to, I want you to come up with any of the Audubon, all of that. I want you to come up with that now and see how far you can go. And then Jamie's like, okay, like it's a
Yeah.
fun challenge.
Yeah. I'll do it. Like, we might regret this later, but I'll do it right now. And it's just this freedom. You have to. I tell people this: the biggest thing that you can give yourself is permission. You have to give yourself permission to do anything. And
Yeah.
you're the only one who can do it. Where I didn't write music for years because I didn't give myself permission to do that, because my brothers are both musicians and better at it than I am, even though I've spent my whole life playing music. And now I write music every day. And it really was, I just had to give myself the permission to sit down and go, well, yeah, what I write isn't what they write. And I sing this way, they play this way. It's never going to be the same. It's not like I'm stealing inspiration from somebody
Right.
else, and the only way I'll get better at it is if I actually do it. And then you find people whose styles and languages resonate with you. In my case, when it's music, it's Max Butler. Comedy, it's Sean George and a couple other people. And Sean also has that ability to stop me at any point. He'll take one look at me, at the length of my hair and how long a beard is, how dark the circles under my eyes are, and go, how many pages did you write? I don't know, 60, 63 in a day? You go, we're going to go bowling. We're going to go bowling.
Yeah.
We're going to go to this underground wrestling thing. We're just going to go drink coffee.
We're going to get away from
Yeah, we're
doing this
not going to
work.
work. We're not
We're
even going
not
to
going to
talk
work.
about work.
And we're going to hang out, which in the long run actually will benefit the work more.
Yeah,
But
it's
it's
like
just like, let's just,
fundamentally we're friends and we like spending
yes,
time together and hanging out. And our best ideas come when we're not
always,
trying to force an idea.
always.
And that's something people forget when you're performing so much, because the expectation is that show that you're doing has to be the one that gets the attention from someone, an agent, a manager, a casting director,
And
something.
it's so important. This is the show. I have to do
Yeah.
it this show. And
And if I don't, it's going to ruin the opportunity
right.
forever. And that's
It's not true.
wrong, because when people see you pressing and they see you forcing and they see you trying too hard, they know it's insincere and they know it's not you. You're playing the idea of what
Yes.
you think they want you to be.
Yes.
When you're a unique instrument, you're the only one who sounds like you're the only one who thinks like you. You can find people who can harmonize with that,
Right.
but you have to understand these are the things that I can do, and these are the things that I'm really good at. And
Yes.
also being aware of these are the things that I'm not as good at, and that's not
It's okay.
knocking yourself down. That's okay. You can
It's okay.
find those other people who complement those things about you,
Yes.
and then your product gets much better. It becomes art, it becomes effortless, and it becomes easy. I had no idea we were already at 10 minutes.
Well, because dude,
we must be 1 minute in just talking about claw-footed tubs.
well, because also it's like you and I, we have fun with each other, and it's like when it's fun, there's no time limit on it. It's like, oh,
Right.
that minute is like, no, it's been 10 minutes, it's been an hour. It's like, oh, because it's easy, we're going with the flow. And too many times people don't want to go with the flow and they want to add all this stuff on, and it's like, I don't know, man. We talked earlier. It's like, I want to sit down because it's easier. I just want things to be easier and more fun and float along rather than try and struggle. And I feel like you're one of those dudes, man, that because you've got the Chicago background and you're a hustler, you're always like, no, there's no excuses. I'm going to create my own path. And then it starts to become true. And then you start to find people who go, I like to hang out with you. And you're like, cool. Like there's room for everyone. It doesn't have to be a thing where there's a limitation. So what I want to find out, where can people, if they want to follow you, connect with you, what's the best way they can do that?
Best way is probably either Instagram or Twitter. It's just at Rama Vallury. You won't find out anything going on in my personal life, but you might find out things that I'm working on. I've gotten this is also an effect of Sean George. I've become very good at people only get to know what they need to know. People who really need to know, like you, I'll call you and tell you, hey, here's some news that you should know.
Yes.
But most people, they'll go on there and go, you're hanging out with your dog you're listening to records, you're baking bread, you're cooking. I'm like,
Yep.
all true.
That's
But
it.
you always seem busy. I'm like, I am busy. What are you doing? Doesn't matter. Okay. When I
Right?
can talk about it, I will. But it's that Chicago mentality of nothing is anything until there's a
Yep.
signed contract and money in your pocket. They can find any way to take it away from you after they've said, "Hey, congratulations, you got it." It's like, nah, I didn't get it till the thing is out.
Exactly.
Till it's
The
out and
money,
it's done. The
the
money's
money's
already gone.
deposited. The money's deposited.
Yeah.
That's when it's done. Until
So you
then,
can't take it away. It's like even if you never air the thing,
yep.
like I did a bit for a episode of Bill Maher and recorded everything, got paid for it, and then when the episode aired, he did the bit instead. And I'll say he did a worse job than I. The man can't do a Russian accent to save his
No.
life, but
But
know,
you got paid.
yeah, when he's at his level, it's like you don't want anybody stealing your laughs, and then he didn't get any, which made it even funnier for me. But the money still spent. I was still able
Money
to pay my
spent.
rent. So yeah, I think it's really good that people talk about. You need to understand the nature of the relationship you're in with the people that you're in it with. Are they built on this thing in a community? Is it transactional? Is a relationship built on you were in a show together and that's it?
Yeah.
But understanding there are relationships you have with people that go far deeper, where there is a personal and emotional investment in their well-being, their success, how their family is doing.
And it's your choice.
It's your choice, and
Your
that's
choice.
that funk you can't fake. It's either
Right.
there or it's not. You have to ride that. And like you were saying, with certain people, you find that it's effortless and it flows and time is irrelevant. And those are the relationships I look to cultivate, where
Yes.
whether it's personally, it's professionally, romantically, anything, if I'm unaware of the time and a conversation doesn't feel like work, it just is natural, like these are the people you want to surround yourself with. You don't have to worry about the number of friends, the number of follows, likes.
None of that matters.
Things. It doesn't matter because if you're just focused on these commodified results or these shiny pennies, you're going to be so miserable in every other facet of your life.
You're never going to get what you're looking for.
You'll get what somebody else is looking for, or somebody else thinks you're looking for.
Yeah.
But what you actually are trying to get, you're never going to get there because you're focused on the absolute wrong things. So it's important to take the time to live, to breathe, and to disconnect and just do things. I tell everybody, look, if I did one thing today that I sincerely enjoyed for me, that's a good day. If it all ended later today, I could go, well, you know, I got to do 10 minutes of improv with Jay Succo, so how could it be a bad day? It was a good day.
Dude, I fucking love you so much, and I can't wait to play in person or virtual again, man. You're the best.
Oh, absolutely.
Let's talk soon.
Anytime you want. You know, every podcast I've ever been on, somehow your name pops up. Anybody watching this, if you haven't taken a class with Jay, take a class with Jay. TodayImprov.com. Sign up for the newsletter.
I fucking love you, brother. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.
Bye.